A barefoot man covered in dust and smelling like the street walked boldly into MANAGERStory Bank like he owned the place, and he marched straight to the reception desk and said calmly, "I want to see the manager." That single sentence shook the hall. A staff shouted, "Who allowed this thing inside?" Laughter followed. Heads turned. Perfume couldn't compete with his scent. Some customers grabbed their bags, others covered their noses. One lady whispered, "Jesus! Is this a bank or a refugee camp?" But unknown to them, that dirty man was about to turn the entire bank upside down. Subscribe and get seated to watch the full story now. The full story. It was 11 a.m. sharp, and MANAGERStory Bank on Victoria Island was as busy as a Monday morning market. The air inside smelled of perfume, freshly printed money, and self-importance. Men in fitted suits scrolled through emails like they owned the bank, while ladies in high heels clicked across the marble floor, their long artificial nails tapping against phones that cost more than someone's rent. Then, just as everything was running smoothly, the glass door creaked open, and he walked in. Heads turned instantly, brows arched, mouths twitched. The man looked like he had been wrestling with life, and life had clearly won. His name was Michael Johnson, around 35 years old, though his rough beard and tired eyes made him look older. His clothes were dirty, his slippers had seen better years, and the smell around him screamed, "Hard times live here." In his right hand, he clutched a crumpled, greasy envelope. In his left, a broken walking stick that looked like it had survived a world war. He walked slowly, each step echoing in the quiet bank hall, as if the sound alone was disturbing the peace of the rich. The security man by the door stared in disbelief. "Bros, you sure say you dey enter the right place?" he muttered under his breath. But Michael didn't respond. He just walked straight, head down, eyes tired, but determined. He got to the counter where a young, half-neatly dressed lady named Sandra sat typing away like she was decoding the secrets of the universe. "Good morning, my sister," Michael said softly, placing the brown envelope on the counter. "Please, there's a problem with my account. It's not working properly." Sandra looked up, blinking like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. She sized him from head to toe, her expression screaming, "You can't possibly have an account here." "Sir! Sir," she began slowly, forcing a polite smile, "I think you've made a mistake. This is MANAGERStory Bank, not a charity house. Are you sure your account is here?" Michael smiled faintly. His voice was calm, too calm for someone being humiliated in public. "Please, just check," he said gently. "Maybe I really have an account here." Sandra sighed, clearly irritated. She picked up the envelope like she was touching a piece of trash and said, "All right, sir, but this will take a while. Please go and sit down. We'll attend to you soon." Of course, that soon meant never. She dropped the envelope carelessly on her desk and went back to chatting with her colleague about how her boyfriend surprised her with a new iPhone. Michael stood there quietly for a while, ignored like a fly in a conference room. People kept glancing at him, not out of kindness, but pure curiosity and judgment. A man in a suit whispered to his friend, "Who let this guy in? He looks like he came to beg for money, not withdraw it." A lady near the ATM giggled, "Maybe he came to open an account with 100 naira. Michael ignored them all. After a few minutes of waiting, he spoke again, this time with a humble smile. "My sister, if you're busy, could you please call your manager? I actually have some business with him." Sandra rolled her eyes so hard you'd think she saw her brain, but she reluctantly picked up the phone and called the manager's office. "Good morning, sir," she said. "There's a man here who wants to see you." The manager, Mr. Felix Adams, looked through his office window. From where he sat, he could see Michael sitting quietly, his dirty shirt sticking to his back, his broken slippers resting awkwardly on the marble floor. Felix frowned immediately. "Is that one of our customers?" "I don't think so, sir," Sandra said quickly. "He doesn't look like the type who banks here." Felix scoffed. Then why are you disturbing me? I'm too busy for this nonsense. Just make him sit down. He'll leave when he gets tired. Sandra nodded and hung up. Turning back to Michael, she forced another fake smile. Sir, please have a seat over there in the waiting area. The manager is busy for now. He'll see you later. Michael nodded politely. Thank you, my dear. He walked over to the corner of the hall and sat on one of the shiny metal chairs. The moment he sat down, the air in the room seemed to change again. The perfume of the rich could no longer hide the discomfort in the room. Everyone kept sneaking glances at him. He clearly didn't fit in with this world of gold watches and credit cards. The customers at MANAGERStory Bank were used to seeing big men, politicians, CEOs, influencers, people who spoke loudly about millions. Not a man in tattered clothes carrying an old brown envelope that looked like it survived the rain. The whispers continued. Maybe he came to beg for job, or maybe he's here to deliver something. I beg, security should check that envelope. Oh, you can't trust anybody these days. But Michael sat quietly. No frown, no anger, just calm patience, like a man who had already seen the worst life could throw at him. The whispers had grown like wildfire. Every customer, every staff member, every cleaner, they all had something to say about the scruffy man sitting quietly in the corner. The air in MANAGERStory Bank, which used to smell like air freshener and fake politeness, now reeked of judgment. Michael Johnson sat there, his envelope still tucked under his arm, his eyes staring at the glossy bank logo on the wall. He had heard everything. Every cruel comment, every mockery, every sarcastic laugh, but he didn't flinch. Let them talk. Let them assume. One customer whispered loudly, "I beg, who allowed this man inside? Look at his legs. Chai, they're even dusty." "This is a bank, not a bus stop." Another chuckled. "I'm sure he came to beg for transport fare." Michael's lips twitched faintly, not in anger, but amusement. People and their quick mouths, he thought. You can't blame them. The suit and tie don't teach manners. As the noise continued, Charles, one of the junior staff, walked back into the banking hall. He'd just returned from buying lunch for the other employees, his dress still slightly damp from the Lagos sun. The moment he stepped in, he noticed the shift in the atmosphere. People were staring toward the waiting area like it was a circus show. He followed their gaze and saw Michael sitting alone on a metallic chair, looking like a man who'd been forgotten by life itself. Charles frowned immediately. He overheard a female customer saying, "Even the cleaners should drive him out before customers start complaining." He turned his head and saw two female cleaners, Chioma and Bola, laughing hysterically near the corner. One of them pointed at Michael and said, "Ha! God I bego! Now this kind person we dey call customer, see as him sit down there like statue." The other one, Chioma, held her mop like a microphone and said in a mocking tone, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is the new branch manager of MANAGERStory Bank." The two of them burst into laughter, loud enough to turn heads. Miss Sandra, the customer officer who had earlier dismissed Michael, chuckled from her desk. "You people should stop now," she said playfully, "before he thinks we're talking about him." But the truth? They were. Everyone knew it. Michael heard every word. He didn't even try to defend himself. He just smiled faintly and looked down at his torn slippers, as if they were his only friends in the world. Charles couldn't stand it any longer. He walked straight to him and said softly, "Good afternoon, sir. I noticed you've been waiting. Is there any problem?" Michael raised his head slowly. His eyes were calm, steady, too calm for someone being treated like trash. "Yes, my brother," he said politely. "I need to see your manager, Mr. Felix Adams. I have something very important to discuss with him." Charles nodded respectfully. "All right, sir." "Please wait here for a moment. I'll speak to him right away." He turned and walked briskly to the glass-walled office at the end of the hall, where Mr. Felix Adams sat, busy pretending to be busier than he actually was. "Good afternoon, sir," Charles said, knocking gently. There's a man outside waiting to see you. He's been here for a while now. He says it's important." Felix barely looked up from his laptop. "Oh, that one," he said, waving dismissively. Yes, I saw him. I told Sandra to make him sit. He'll leave soon. Don't worry about him." "But, sir," Charles hesitated, "he's been waiting for almost 4 hours and people are mocking him. It doesn't feel right." Felix dropped his pen and gave Charles a look that could freeze boiling water. "Charles," he said coldly, "I don't pay you to play social worker. Do your job and leave that man alone. He's probably one of those people who think they can meet the manager to beg for money. Just ignore him." Charles's jaw tightened. He nodded slowly, "Yes, sir," and walked out of the office. As soon as he stepped back into the hall, he saw Chioma, the cleaner, standing near Michael again. She had a mop bucket in hand and was frowning like she'd seen a cockroach. "Oga," she said rudely, "I beg shift small. I want clean under that chair. You don't sit there since morning like say dem glue you for seat. You know they tire?" Michael looked up at her, his expression calm. "My sister, I'm sorry, I'll move." He shifted slightly and she hissed dramatically. Nawa'o. This kind person go just come they sit for VIP area." Her colleague Bola added sarcastically, "Maybe him they wait for CBN governor." They both laughed again, their laughter echoing like nails on glass. Even Miss Sandra from her desk couldn't hold her giggle this time. She whispered to her friend, "If this one truly has an account here, I'll resign tomorrow." Michael ignored them all. He just sat back down and waited. His eyes wandered toward the manager's office. He knew what he came for, and he knew he wouldn't leave without being heard. Minutes turned into an hour. The laughter died down. The cleaners left. The customers changed. But Michael? He was still there at exactly 3:05 p.m. He took a deep breath, stood up slowly, straightened his worn-out shirt and picked up his envelope. Every eye turned to him again. The room went silent. That same heavy silence from when he first walked in. With slow, deliberate steps, Michael Johnson began walking toward Mr. Felix Adams' office. Sandra froze mid-type. Chioma stopped mopping. Even the security guard paused. He wasn't smiling anymore. The patience on his face had turned into quiet authority, the kind that made people uncomfortable without him saying a word. Murmuring in the hall grew louder. Some customers pretended to scroll their phones while secretly recording him for Snapchat. Others whispered, this one must be mad. He thinks this is a welfare centre." The moment Mr. Felix Adams, the almighty branch manager of Megatrust Bank headquarters, saw Michael walking towards his glass cabin, he sprang out like a lion guarding its territory.
"Yes, my friend,"
Felix said in that condescending tone managers reserve for people they think are beneath them. "What exactly do you want? We are busy here." Michael, calm but weary, stretched out his envelope like it contained the cure for his shame. "Sir, please. Inside here are the details of my account. For months now, no transactions have been going through. I just want you to check it and tell me what's wrong." Mr. Felix snorted, one hand in his pocket like a Nollywood villain. "My friend, when there's no money in an account, that's exactly what happens. Maybe you didn't deposit anything. That's why it's dormant." Michael blinked, trying to smile politely. "Sir, I understand, but at least check it first. Then whatever you say, I'll believe you." Felix laughed, loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Check what? I've been doing this work for over 15 years. Or do you think I become a bank manager overnight? By just looking at people like you, I can already tell how much is in their account. 0.00 naira. You think Megatrust is a charity organisation?" The whole hall erupted in laughter. One customer even shouted, "Oga manager, I beg check whether the man's account still exists, Seth." Felix straightened his tie dramatically. "Please go and sit outside before you make this place smell like poverty." Michael's eyes glistened for a moment, but he said nothing. He dropped the envelope gently on Felix's glass table. "Sir, I'll go back and wait. Just take a look at it, please. That account is important to me." He turned to leave quietly, but as he took his first step, his worn slippers betrayed him. He slipped, lost balance, and nearly hit the tiled floor. Before he could fall, Miss Gloria, one of the tellers, shot up from her seat and caught him. "Jesus, no!" she screamed. Everyone turned, mouths open. The manager's face turned red.
Gloria!
Felix barked. "What did I tell you? You're not employed here to do charity work. How many times have I warned you?" Gloria was breathing fast, but stood her ground, still helping Michael regain his balance. "With all due respect, sir," she said, voice trembling but bold, "we are here to serve people, not humiliate them. If helping this man costs me my job, then so be it. I'm tired of watching us act like monsters in uniform." The entire banking hall froze. Even the security guard at the door stopped pretending to check bags. Felix pointed a finger at her. "You're testing my patience, Gloria. Don't make me." But she cut him off. "No, sir. You've done enough damage for one day. I'll personally take this man to our other branch tomorrow. Maybe someone there will actually do their job." The hall broke into nervous laughter. Someone muttered, "Gloria don't vex again. Oh, nah, she go carry poor man go other branch." Gloria ignored them. She turned to Michael, her voice softer now. "Sir, please come with me. You must be hungry. Let's get you something to eat." Michael blinked, his eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you, my sister. God bless you." As they both walked out of the bank, the female cleaners whispered loudly, "This one no get shame. She day hold dirty man hand like that. Anne, maybe she want Mariam." Another one giggled. "She don't turn St. Gloria of Megatrust." Outside, Gloria led Michael to a small roadside cafeteria beside the bank. The smell of jollof rice filled the air as she ordered him a plate and a bottle of water. "Sir," she said gently, "I'm sorry for everything." "We're not like that always, sir. Maybe everyone's just in a bad mood today." Before she could say more, two guys eating nearby burst into laughter. "Ah! Gloria, you don't start again? Feeding strangers when your mama still day-o hospital bill? This your saviour behaviour no go kill you!" Gloria rolled her eyes. "Mind your business, Tony." Michael ate quietly, savouring every spoonful like a man who hadn't tasted kindness in years. When he finished, he looked at her with teary eyes. "My sister," he said slowly. "Thank you. I'll come early tomorrow morning so you can take me to the other branch. Even if your manager no agree you enter the gate, just wait for me at the gate. You must help me, please." Gloria smiled faintly. "I'll be there, sir. I promise." As the sun began to set and the bank's closing bell echoed faintly from across the road, Gloria sat watching him. The air in the banking hall was finally beginning to calm down after the earlier chaos caused by the mysterious dirty man, Michael Johnson. Customers had gone, the lights were dimmer, and the sound of keyboards tapping filled the silence. But while everyone was gossiping about the madman that came to disturb rich people's peace, Charles, the junior officer in charge of data verification, couldn't shake the memory of that wrinkled brown envelope. It was lying quietly at the corner of Mr. Felix Adams's desk, the same envelope that had been insulted, ignored, and pushed aside like a useless piece of paper. When Mr. Felix left his office to escort his very important client to the door, Charles slipped in, his curiosity on fire. He picked up the envelope and turned it over, whispering to himself, "Let me even see what's inside this thing we demday call MADMAN paper." Inside were old legal documents, stamped bank records and a yellowed photocopy of an ID card. The name on the document almost made him choke. Name, Michael Johnson. Position, major shareholder, Megatrust Bank. Ownership, 80%. Charles blinked twice, thinking maybe the system was playing pranks on him. He sat quickly, logged into the bank's internal server and began typing the account number printed on the document. The system loaded slowly, like it knew the wahala it was about to reveal. Then the result popped up on the screen. His mouth hung open. "Jesus! This dirty man owns Megabank?" He stood up, sat down again, and rubbed his eyes just to make sure he wasn't hallucinating. Then he whispered like a man afraid of his own voice. 80% shares? So this man the boss and Mr. Felix, they shout for him head? He printed out the report immediately. His hand was shaking as he watched the printer spit out the papers, each line confirming the unimaginable truth. Meanwhile, Chioma and Bola, the bank's two ever-nosy cleaners, were still gossiping while pretending to mop the floor. Chioma, I swear that Gloria girl Don Craze finish. How she go carry that smelling man go buy jollof rice? Wettin she see for him body? I beg leave matter. If na me, I for spray air freshener straight for him head. The whole bank still they smell like gutter water because of that man. They laughed so loud that Charles hissed at them. Una no get work. Bola rolled her eyes. No you sabi. Maybe you dey jealous because the man no buy you rice. Charles ignored them and rushed straight to Mr. Felix's office. The manager was still busy showing off in front of a fat client, boasting at the bank's exclusive gold account and private investment packages. Charles knocked gently and stepped in. Good evening, sir. Charles, what is it? Felix asked, not even looking up. Sir, it's about the man that came earlier today, Michael Johnson. I think you should see this report immediately. Felix frowned. Charles, we are not done discussing that madman. I told you people. I don't want his name mentioned again. He was lucky I didn't call the security. Charles swallowed hard. Sir, please just take a look at this file. It's urgent. Felix snatched the papers, skimmed one line, then tossed them back like trash. Charles, please! You think I have time for street beggars? I'm dealing with a client worth millions here, man you're talking about. If he had 1 naira in his account, would he look like that? The client laughed, adjusting his agbada. Exactly. If na me, I for don chase kamote with broom. Felix grinned proudly. Thank you, sir. My staff just likes wasting my time. Charles was speechless. He stood there watching his boss proudly dismiss the man who literally owned the bank. Sir? Charles tried again, his voice calm but heavy. This isn't just any man. Please look closely at the details. It's written there that he... Felix cut him off sharply. Charles, are you deaf? I said I'm not interested. Take that file and get out of my office before I write you a query. Charles sighed, gathered the papers and walked out slowly. As he stepped into the hallway, he muttered under his breath, "E go shock you tomorrow, Mr. Felix. It go shock all of Unna." Back in the main hall, Sandra was shutting down her system quietly while Chioma and Bola came up with the mocking discussion again. Madam Mother Teresa, don't sack himself for feeding another beggar today, Bola teased. Sandra smiled loudly. By tomorrow, another staff would be taking over her position. They all laughed. The lights went off one after another as the day ended. Mr. Felix strutted out of his office, perfume filling the air, acting like a king who had conquered his kingdom. Meanwhile, Charles stood near the door, holding the brown envelope close to his chest like a secret grenade ready to explode. And across the street, in a dim roadside restaurant, Michael Johnson, the dirty man, was sitting quietly, eating his dinner. His eyes were calm, but there was something new in his face, a knowing smile. Tomorrow, he would return to Mega Trust Bank. But this time, not as a beggar. This time, he would return as the true owner. The next morning at Mega Trust Bank, the atmosphere was already tense before 8 a.m. Even the security men at the gate were whispering among themselves. Something didn't feel normal. Miss Gloria, the kind-hearted junior staff who had fed the dirty man the previous day, arrived in her usual calm spirit, holding her bag close and humming a gospel tune. But just as she tried to swipe her ID card at the door, the security beeped red. She tried again. Beep! Red again. Madam! Sorry, oh, the security man said, scratching his head. Manager say make we know allow you enter. He talk say your job don finish. Gloria blinked. Excuse me, my what? Before she could process it, Mr. Felix Adams, the manager himself, came out in his designer suit, his face tight with pride and irritation. "Miss Gloria," he barked, "your services are no longer needed here. You think this is a charity home? You embarrassed this bank yesterday by standing in for that beggar right inside our hall. And you also fed him. I can't have such emotional nonsense here." The other staff standing nearby, Charles, Miss Sandra, Chioma and Bola, froze for a second. Then Sandra chuckled. Bola whispered something to Chioma and they both burst into laughter. Gloria, her eyes glistening but her voice firm, said, "Sir, all I did was show kindness to a man everyone else treated like trash. I was trying to redeem the image of this bank, not destroy it." "Redeem?" Felix scoffed, folding his arms. "You can redeem yourself outside these premises." Everyone laughed mockingly as Gloria stood there clutching her bag. Even Charles felt bad but couldn't speak, not with Felix's eyes flashing like lightning. But just as the laughter got louder, vroom! The sudden sound of sirens and the honk of convoy vehicles silenced everyone. Heads turned to the gate as 3 black SUVs with tinted windows pulled into the compound. "Ah! Who be that again?" one security guard murmured. "EFCC or who?" Uniformed men in black suits jumped out, their presence commanding instant respect. One of them rushed to open the middle car door. Out stepped a man in expensive Italian suit, polished shoes, and a confident aura that could silence a crowd. Everyone gasped. It was Mr. Michael Johnson, the same dirty, unkempt man they had mocked and thrown out yesterday. Only this time his hair was trimmed, his beard neatly shaved, and his fragrance could probably buy a house in Lekki. He adjusted his gold wristwatch and said calmly, "I need to see the manager, Mr. Felix Adams." The crowd parted like the Red Sea. Felix, confused but still putting up an arrogant smile, stepped forward. "Yes, sir, I'm the manager here. How may I?" Before he could finish, Michael cut him short.
Oh!
"You're still talking confidently. My name is Michael Johnson, the same man you humiliated and sent out yesterday." Gasps echoed across the hall. Even Chioma dropped her mop bucket. Michael continued, his tone still calm but with authority. "You are hereby relieved of your duty, Mr. Felix Adams, for gross misconduct and violation of Megatrust Bank's customer ethics." Felix blinked. Then he forced a laugh. "You must be joking. Who are you to dismiss me in my bank?" Michael's smile widened slightly. "Who am I?" He handed a printed document to Felix. "Take a look at this." Felix unfolded it, and his face drained of colour. It was a shareholder document. The name Michael Johnson gleamed boldly beside 80% ownership of Megatrust Bank. Felix's jaw dropped. His legs trembled as reality hit him like thunder. Then, without a second thought, he fell to his knees. Sir, please have mercy. I didn't know. I thought you were just some..." Michael raised his hand, silencing him. "You thought wrong. And that's the problem with many of you. You judge people by how they look, not by who they are." Everyone stood still. You could hear a pin drop. Michael looked around the hall. "Mr. Felix, I'm not wicked. You can stay in the bank, but from today you'll join the gateman crew. Maybe humility will finally teach you the meaning of service." The entire staff gasped. Bola's mouth hung open. Chioma almost shouted, "Jehovah!" Michael then turned to Charles, who was still standing stiff at his counter. "Mr. Charles, step forward." Charles swallowed hard. "Sir? You are hereby promoted to branch manager of this bank." Charles stammered, eyes wide. "Sir, I'm just a junior staff. I don't think..." Michael smiled warmly. "You're more qualified than half of the people sitting in those big offices. You respected your job and you respected people. That's what real leadership means." Charles blinked back tears. "Thank you, sir. I won't disappoint you." Then Michael's eyes found Gloria, who was still standing outside the glass door, watching in disbelief. He walked toward her, every step confident. "Miss Gloria," he said softly, "you're not getting your job back." The staff whispered, "Ha! She'd on lose 'em finally." But Michael wasn't done. He smiled. "You're not getting your job back because I saw something rare in you yesterday, something I've been searching for." Everyone froze again. Michael suddenly went down on one knee in front of Gloria. The entire hall went silent. Even Felix, kneeling by the wall, raised his head. "Please," Michael said, looking up at her, "marry me. Complete me. And together, let's lead with humility and love, something money can't buy." Gloria gasped, her hand over her mouth, tears welling up. The hall erupted, half with cheers, half with disbelief. Bola screamed, "Jesus is Lord!" while Chioma muttered, "From Akara to Alton, a God day run am!" Even Charles couldn't stop smiling. And as Michael took Gloria's hand, one thing was clear. Megatrust Bank had just witnessed a miracle in human form. Moral lesson: never look down on anyone. The person you mock today might be your boss tomorrow. Subscribe for more. See you in my next video, my story lovers.